All right. There we go, Lenita. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, Douglas. How are you?
Good, good, awesome. Actually, because it's morning in Australia, right?
Yes,
Wow. What time
it's
is it?
currently 7:15 a.m. So I'm starting my day really early and on a very positive note. I'm excited to be here.
That's great. That's awesome. Yes, I'm all the way in the United States of America, and it's actually 3 o'clock in the evening here. Well, in the
Wow,
afternoon. It's not even evening yet.
you gotta
So,
love technology. I
I,
love it.
so let me ask you this. So I know we met at the 10X event. That
Mm.
was awesome. What made you come all the way from Australia to the 10X Growth Conference? What made you do that?
Yeah, people ask me this all the time, considering I'm so far away from America. But I was getting into the personal development, real estate kind of space, and I came across Grant Cardone on social media, and I really loved what he was putting out for the content. And I really heavily invested myself in what he was delivering, that I actually wanted a real life experience, and I wanted to see him in person and meet like-minded people. And so, I always tell people, invest in yourself, get the education that you need to propel to the next level. And I thought I had to start, obviously practice what I preach. I love Miami. It was a great excuse to travel again. And so I just bought my ticket. Didn't really know what was going to happen with the accommodation, the flights. I just literally just booked my 10x ticket, and then I figured out the rest as I went. And
That
that's
is
how I got to 10x.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
awesome.
How'd you make that decision?
Yeah, same thing. I've been watching Grant Cardone all the time, just on YouTube, just hearing him talk, make all the noise he's making because he makes a lot of noise. And I said, you know what, this guy is interesting. He's saying the right stuff. So I say, you know what, he has an event coming, and I need to be a part of that. So I went ahead and purchased my ticket, and I made it happen.
Mm. Very thankful too, because we wouldn't have connected if we both weren't at 10x. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
10X
And
it was great. I mean, he's gonna have it again next year. We don't know where next year and what time or what day or what month, but it's happening. It's so interesting because the first one, the second one he had last year, he had like 3,000 people, but and this year he had over 30,000 people. So that's just proving his point about 10X in your business, which is very exciting for me because get to see a guy, put stuff out there in the atmosphere and just make it happen. So same thing. So that's awesome. But yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you do in Australia.
Ooh, all right, where do I start? I've had a very controversial journey in my career. I started off as a high school teacher and love working with kids. I teach personal development for teenagers, and I kind of tapped into different educational platforms. I did a lot of work on summer camps. I did a lot of work in church youth groups, sporting clubs, etc. And I found there was a gap between what kids were learning in schools and they were actually applying in real life. So I started to, I guess, test the waters with my own coaching and speaking business for kids. Loved that side of the education world for youth. And so I transitioned out as a classroom teacher to pursue my own business. And I realized that I was, gaining a lot of impact myself, obviously in terms of the influence in young people, the income in the business as well, in comparison to a teacher's job. But I found that there was something more that I needed to do. I found that I couldn't reach every single kid in the world. I would ideally love to, but I can't do that. And I felt inspired to support other leaders as well that want to educate youth. They want to teach them about personal development. They want to teach them about financial literacy. And so I've extended my services out to the leaders and actually help them become makers, spread their story and their message into schools, and just educate youth on the real life skills that they need. It's not enough to teach kids on how to study for tests. There's a place for that. There's a time and a place for an exam. But if our kids are broke in society, they don't know how to deal with their own personal growth, they're not going to go very far. And that's where I really want to focus on for my end. So that's my journey. Very controversial. I had to unlearn a lot of things getting into the education system, studying to become a teacher. I personally learned a lot for myself. And then I realized that I had to step out and really learn the real stuff that we need in the world, and then go back in and teach the kids, because I felt like I was robbing the kids by not teaching them the real things that they needed to hear. So that's what brings me here today, Douglas.
Wow.
I'm excited. It's a new stepping stone for me.
That is awesome. That's awesome, because teachers are great. They do so much for the kids. I remember when I got into this financial service industry. For those of you that don't know me, I run a financial service company in here in the United States, and I have clients all over the country. And I've actually also have clients in some parts of the world actually that do business, that want to come to America to do business. But when I got into this industry, I was introduced to it by a school teacher, high school teacher. She got me interested in the business. I mean, so that was awesome, because teachers, they do you'll sacrifice so much. You do a lot for the kids, and you're right. So many people don't realize the teachers do so much, but nobody's helping them understand their money part. So financial literacy, I guess that's what got us connected, because you're helping the kids in Australia. You're helping them understand about money and the importance of growing their financial knowledge. And I do the same thing here. I work with a number of, I have a nonprofit that I use actually to educate not just kids, but a lot of adults on financial literacy. So it's interesting to see that the same problem we have here in America is also the same in Australia. And that's something.
Oh, yeah. It's look, it's very similar, if not the same. It's there's an education system in place, and schools are great, and teachers are great at placing the students at a level they can excel academically, but somehow there's just that lost connection when it comes to the financial side of things and the personal development side of things. And as you said, teachers are phenomenal. We have such a really important role in guiding the children through their, developmental stage. And they spend a lot of time with us in the schools. Like, they do spend most of their hours every week with us. And it's kind of like they're our family and we're their family. And so, I'm really trying to shed some more light on the importance of financial education, because as you would know, financial freedom starts with financial education.
That's right.
And growing up with that, personally, I did not grow up with the financial education side of things. So I'm so intrigued in what you do and what you deliver for your clients, because I find so many homes, not just schools, but so many homes need what you're doing. So tell me more about what you do, because as I said, it resonates with me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, the financial literacy is one of the key components of what we do. Just getting people to think outside the box of the traditional financial planning concept. So one thing that I've done in my practice is just help my clients find ways that they're throwing money away unknowingly, because they don't know they're doing it. And unnecessarily, we could fix it for them. And there's a number of areas that we've seen that people do that, the way they make their mortgage payments. Because so many people think about their mortgage as a place to park their wealth. But there's a lot of wealth transfers that occur in a house, in a mortgage. And then the way they pay taxes is another big chunk of money that goes away from people. Because when you think about it, for every dollar a person makes, I don't know how it is in Australia, but here in the United States, for every dollar you make, 40 cents of that dollar is going towards taxes. And I'm not even just talking about the income tax. I'm talking about the state tax. I'm talking about utility tax, water tax, food tax. I mean, we're taxed so much, clothes tax, we're taxed so much. And then you have another 34 cents for every dollar you make that goes towards credit card interest rates, or mortgage interest rate, car, when you finance a car. That's a lot of money. And then you look at people trying to save for their children's college, and they don't know the right place to put their money or what type of account to use for that. So there's a lot of wealth transfers that occur there as well. And one thing we also found is the way people make major capital purchases, like when they buy a car, pay for wedding, do birthday parties, different places. There's so much money that people are losing, thrown away unknowingly and unnecessarily. So my job as a financial advisor is to help them recapture some of those dollars, because I believe if I could help them capture those dollars that they're throwing away unknowingly, then it makes it a lot easier for them to be able to save more. Just think about it. If you didn't have to pay the taxes on that dollar, imagine what you could do with that money. That'll create a lot of opportunity for a person. So we deal with stuff like opportunity cost and different things to help them plan better for their financial future. Because your future self is going to depend on you. It's going to be waiting for you to make it, to help them make that. They're hoping you make the right decision today, so your future self could be well off. So that's what I do.
I love that so much. Do you find that there's a trend in families when it comes to the habits of the parents and how they spend their money, and then obviously how the kids grow up in the home? Do they adopt those same habits financially? Because, I guess the way it's happened in certain homes, my home specifically, of the conditioning, it does affect the children. So what have you noticed when it comes to families and building that generational wealth?
Yeah, definitely, because that's something that, that conversation, a lot of families don't have those conversations in the homes, and something that we push and we educate. And that's why I actually went ahead and I wrote a book about creating generational wealth, what the super wealthy know that a person needs to know about. Because we found that most families don't discuss creating generational, they don't discuss that. They don't see their family as a business. See, I say your family is a business. You have the head of the household and the which I call the president and the vice president. That's the two spouses, right? And then the children are the employees of that family. So because they're going to do what they do, Now, my question to that family is this: what happens if one of the key person in the family dies or becomes disabled or sick? And what happens if the employees, again, if something happens to them? What will happen to that family situation? So what we do is help a family understand the importance of creating themselves as a business and having a plan to make sure that the business continues to run, the family business continues to run no matter what happens to one person. And that goal that they set is always going to be around.
Wow, I love that so much. I always tell my students, you have to treat yourself like a business. What are you investing in? The people you're hanging around, are they an asset or liability? So these are the type of terms that I love to now introduce to young kids. And yes, what you've just said is unbelievable. I'm just very thankful that we've been able to have more awareness around the topic, especially for families, because I find that a lot of families put that responsibility into the schools and into the teachers. And I know we have a place as educators to definitely talk about financial literacy, and I feel like that is where we're going as a society. But at the same time, could you agree that the financial education definitely starts in the home?
Of course it does. It's just that the thing is, the parents got to be educated to be able to teach it to their kids. And the only reason most families don't have those conversations is because the parents are scared to let the kids see the realness of what's going on. So I'll give an example of what I do with my kids. I let them know about all the bills that we have to pay every month, and they see the bills. They see it there and they know. So I get them to open up those mails for me and they read it. So they know what the utility bill is. They know what the water bill is. They see that, and I educate them on that. I say, listen, that's what it is. So when you're in that bathroom spending all day taking showers, running the water, that's a bill that somebody got to pay. So nothing is free in the world. So you need to realize that. And then we talk about the money that comes in. I remember having a conversation with my daughter, just saying, how much money I spend every month on expenses. And I listed them out to her so they could see that, listen, this is how much goes out. So don't just see what comes in. Look at how much going out in expenses. So I'm teaching them the importance. So we actually developed an app that me and my business partners put together. It's a budgeting app. It's a budget and spend control app that allows families to budget and control their spending. So we did that. It's called Proactive Budget. So one thing that we do with that is with my children, I actually have them use the app for all their monthly expenses. And I say to them, if you stay on the budget every month, you get an extra $20 added to your finance. So they kind of like that. So we kind of play that game, just teaching them the mindset of being disciplined with their money. You know, I'm not a big budget kind of person, but since we put the app in place, it makes it easy for families to follow, because so many people are not disciplined and they need something to help them control their discretionary spending. So that's something that we do.
I really love that. I really, really love that. And I find that, you know, budgeting and learning about money, you know, it can be fun as well. I find a lot of people avoid the topic of money, you know, whether that's, obviously it's a big factor that affects a lot of marriages today, a lot of relationships, you know, and so I personally grew up with a scarcity mindset around money. My parents were divorced and I grew up without a father. And so money was always that kind of, you know, I had that perception that money makes people bad and money makes people evil. Until I had to unlearn a lot of the things that I was conditioned with, a lot of the things that I was learning in school. And as a teacher, I had to really unlearn a lot. So when you were talking about the mortgage, like sometimes, you know, it's not actually, it's not actually an asset in some aspect, you know, you're becoming a slave to pay off your mortgage. That's one thing that there's, you know, we're grown up with in terms of buy a house, get a job, save for your money, you know, buy your house. And even the taxes, you know, student loan is like, that's a whole different crisis. That's there's so much going on behind the scenes that not many people know about.
You have loans in Australia?
We do. And
really?
Look, to be honest, it's a big crisis at the moment with young people coming out of college or university with such a heavy fee. You know, we call it a HEX fee over here, but not a lot of people understand that unless making a certain salary, you don't really have to be paying off your loan unless you're manually paying it off, like every month or so. So a lot of people come out with such heavy 20 to 30,000 plus loan debt, wow, but they're not making enough money to be paying it off. And then because they don't have the money mindset or they don't know how to make money, it's just debt on top of debt. And then they've got the other fees on top of that debt, and then their taxes. And it's just kind of like, where did this all come from? We're not really told about this unless it starts in the home. So yeah, look, it's a huge crisis in Australia, that's for sure. But I find that, yeah, once you kind of put your mindset and learn more about money, you realize that it's not actually evil. It's not actually a bad thing. It gives you a lot of things that you need in life, which is freedom, and that can create a lot of happiness for people. And yeah, I just love what you're doing because it's exactly what people need to hear, especially the teachers as well, because we shouldn't forget about that aspect of life, the financial and the money side of things. You know, if you're looking at the wheel of life, you've got your physical health, your social health, your emotional health, but there's no financial health. Everyone kind of forgets about the financial side of things. And I find that, you know, I really want to kind of embed that into education for adults and young people. And yeah, I just love having this conversation with you because you're dealing with this all the time, every day with your clients. And I just find with, you know, people who are listening to this video, whether they're parents, teachers, young adults, kids, teenagers, they need to be knowing and they need to be learning about money at such a young age. You know, it was just the other day I was talking to a 13-year-old boy. He's in grade 7 and he wants to start learning about money. and all the whole Instagram and kind of how to monetize and make an impact on Instagram. And I absolutely loved that. So I sat down with him and started to work through certain ways on how to make an impact and help people and get paid for it. And his face just lit up. He's like, thank you so much. Not many people would talk to me about these kind of things. I really want to learn how to make money because, I want to buy my parents things that they never had before. Oh. And this was a 13-year-old boy, and I thought my heart was just exploding when I heard that. And that's why I really want to help young kids, because they're not just going to spend the money on crap, which, look, to some extent they would like to, but they also want to give back to their families. And I just thought that was so adorable. Absolutely adorable.
That is awesome. That's awesome. And that's so great that you as a teacher, actually, you get it and you're able to, you're thinking outside the box from, some teachers. And because a lot of teachers would just tell them or crush his dream and tell them, listen, you need to focus on your education because you can't buy a house being on Instagram or whatever. And they'll give him that, they'll give him that and break his heart and give him the wrong information. I remember when I was getting into the financial service industry, it wasn't even a teacher, it was a pastor that told me not to go into the business. I need to go get me a good job. I need to go get a job and work a job and get rid of the idea of being in the financial service industry. But it's crazy, so information and advice, you got to be careful who you get it from. Because some people give advice to benefit their situation more so than other folks that are willing to help, and they give those advice freely. So I commend you for, making that young boy, his mind now, he's going to be studying and becoming creative, thinking of ways to monetize his Instagram page and get a lot of followers and all that good stuff. So that's awesome.
No, it's really exciting. There's little ways to go around it. I love education and I respect everyone that's working in a school. As I said, there's always a place for what schools are doing for young kids. But where I was coming in, I didn't have the time to teach personal development the way that it should be taught in terms of the personal growth and how to apply things to your life, and even the financial side of things. Like I would literally start reading books about wealth. No joke, Douglas. I would read books about wealth.
Right.
Whether it was in the mornings, I would listen to podcasts. You go for your gym workout in the morning, listen to a podcast, take some notes, and then I would go to school to teach. And I was just, all I wanted to do was to share the knowledge that I was learning. So because I couldn't do it in the normal hours of the classroom, I would stay back after class, whether it was in recess or lunch, and I would literally just brainstorm on the board what I was learning. And the kids wanted to stay back and learn. Wow. This is their lunchtime. They can go run free on the playground, but they wanted to stay back and learn these little hacks when it comes to your personal growth or your financial literacy. And the thing is, I wouldn't teach them the level that, for example, a lot of, people like you that are playing at, but I would just plant those seeds, where is your money going? Should be staying in the bank? What do the wealthy people do that you're not really kind of taught about? And they just introducing them into the financial literacy, the assets, the liabilities, the investing, what type of, where should you be depositing your money, investing your money in? And they just loved it. They would start writing notes. They would take pictures of the board, and then they would be obsessed talking about it the days following. So, and then I thought, look, that's what I really loved to do. It was giving me the most energy. And that's why I kind of I got to step out, do my own thing, to complement the schools. But it's very exciting what you're doing. Absolutely love what you're doing.
I love it.
We were talking the other day about how you demonstrate to your clients about the money and where it's going. And I was just gobsmacked on where the money goes. So do you want to kind of, I guess, explain to families or, to people who have businesses?
Oh, yeah.
What they should be
focusing on. I know. Yeah. So there's some, let me see if I have it on my screen and I could share my screen. Let me look at it, find it real quick. Let me share my screen. I'll bring it up. Yeah, a lot of times we make money, so and the money comes in and it goes so quickly. So we won't talk about that. Just kind of show you the flow, because we believe that once a person understands money, it makes it easy for them to now start thinking differently from everyone else, because it's so important. Because as you go to work, you work hard for your money, you do everything correctly. The last thing you want is your money escaping away from you. So this is what I normally use to paint a picture for my clients. And the reason we do this is we because a picture tells a thousand stories, you know, because it makes it a lot easier for people to understand. So this is what we call we call it your personal economic model. Everyone has it. Those that understand it use it to cultivate and build a lot of wealth for themselves. Those that don't understand it, they live paycheck to paycheck. So, you know, now that you told me that you guys in Australia pay a lot of taxes as well, just like here in America, and you have the same issues that we have here. So here's what happens. And I probably need to learn more about your retirement system to understand what happens in that world as well. But so you go out and you make income, right? We all make money. Now, here's what the tank that we see, the tanks and the pipes, there's a reason for that. Because water, you know, when you put water in a jar, in a cup, and you leave it there, it's going to evaporate and get away from you. If you put holes in it, it's going to evaporate, it's going to drain out quickly. Same thing with money. Money, as soon as it comes in your hand, it's trying to get away from you. The fastest, as quickly as possible, it's trying to get away from you. It doesn't like you, it doesn't want to stay with you, right? So same thing with, you know, so we put money and water together because they're looking for the least resistance to get away. So what happens, you make income. So here in America, what happens, people are told to invest in a 401k plan, in a retirement plan. That's what we call it. And it goes into this tank. We call it a risk tank. Now, there's a reason we call it a risk tank, because your money goes in, it's invested in the stock market. So you're going to take a risk. The money, you could make a lot of money, you get excited at making money, but you could also lose a lot of money. So that's the risk tank. Now, a lot of people don't realize when the money comes in here, what they did was they said, listen, they told the government, hey, I don't want to pay taxes today. Go ahead and tax me in the future. But they don't ask the government, what are the taxes going to be in the future? You know, it's like trying to buy a car. You go into a concert at this big stadium, and you get to the parking garage, and the guy says to you, go ahead and park your car, no problem. When you finish, after your concert, come back, I'll tell you how much it's going to cost you for this part to park here. Will you park your car in that garage? You'll never do it. Nobody will do that, right? Yeah. But millions of people, millions of Americans are putting their money in this parking garage, and they're going ahead and parking the money, but they don't ask the question to the government, how much will this cost me when I want to take the money out of this exit? So the government says, don't worry, just go ahead, put the money in there. We'll let you know at that point how much it will cost you. So what they do, the red is all the taxes you have to pay on that money. And what happens, the government decides how much of that belongs to them. And that's some, so many people, when they come, I have a lot of clients that own their own business, and once we go through this educational process with them, they do not want to contribute anymore in their 401k plan. That's something they get smart. They get up on, they understand. Then the rest of the money is going to flow through what we'll call your lifetime capital potential. That's all the money you're going to make in your lifetime. So that's why that tank is bigger than the two other tanks, because these two tanks right here are the tanks you're going to depend on once you retire. So retirement, I call retirement unemployment, because once you retire, you don't have money coming in unless you saved for it. So what happens, as you continue to earn income, what happens, the government says, okay, we're going to go ahead and just take the taxes out You don't have to worry about sending it to us. We're going to take it right away from your paycheck because we don't trust you. We know you're not going to pay us. So we're going to just make it and take it because we need it. And they take the money right off your paycheck. The rest of the money is going to flow through your lifestyle regulator. This tank right here, this little valve, it's your lifestyle regulator. So your lifestyle regulator says to you, says, Lenita, you know what? You need to save for the future because your future self at 65 is going to need some money. But your present self, your current lifestyle is saying, Lenita, you're already putting away money in your retirement account. You need to enjoy yourself. You need to go out and splurge and do all the great things you want to do and enjoy life. Travel, do all that. You say, you know what, that sounds really good. Because we as humans, we like to enjoy ourselves. And guess what? It just goes and goes on your lifestyle and the money is gone.
Wow.
So we hardly put money in that safe tank. So what happens again, as you look at the diagram, what happens, you're saving money in your retirement funds and you're taking all this, is going. Now, it's going to take a lot of effort on your part to pump money and say, you know what, I really need to save. Because saving money is very difficult for so many people. Because they, like I said, for every dollar you earn, 40 cents is already gone to taxes. Then 34 cents is going towards bills, creditors. Why is that? Well, because most people, when they have credit cards. You all have that in Australia?
Yeah,
you have credit cards, right?
Our best friends, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's just the system, the banking system, they're so slick. They work hand in hand with the government. You know, I believe the banks, the government, and the media, all three of them work hand in hand to keep the people mind to depend on them. So the bank says, go ahead and take a loan from us. We'll loan you money and we'll use your future income as collateral because we know you're going to keep earning income. So they loan you money on that credit card at a high interest rate and you have debt. So all you're doing is just working to pay debt. And then you're saving a little bit of money in your safe tank. But then what happens? Because it's called a put and take savings account. When you put the money in, you take it out. You put the money in your savings account, you take it out. So you never really get to the finish line because that's the goal. So you're always draining the tank to buy stuff for emergency or for whatever the situation might be. And while this continues to grow and grow, so most people, even at retirement, they have to still work. So my job is to teach you a different way of handling your finances to make sure these things don't happen to you, because we want to put you in a position of control where you use somebody else's money instead of yours, just like the banks are doing. Why not have your money sit in this tank and continue to grow for you? And then what happens, if you need to make a decision and buy something, use somebody else's money, but don't use your future income as collateral. Use your savings account as collateral. And then we show you an alternative investment or savings account where you're earning compounding interest, where you don't have to worry about you earning 0.1%, where your money is growing for you on a consistent basis, but you're not touching it. It continues to grow. You're using somebody else's money, and then when you pay them back, that comes away and your tank is still filled up. So that's what we teach our clients here. And
Jeez. So like this is just, it blows my mind because, oh my gosh, the amount of people that have not been able to learn this at such a young age, and I would say that that's obviously, I'm a part of that as well. And when you come to listen to what you've just demonstrated, Douglas, it's kind of like, I feel so ripped off to some extent because I was not taught this. And the thing is, you know, we're taught to put our money in a retirement fund or a super fund, and you know, pay your taxes, kind of like, yes, we're taking care of ourselves. And then you see this and you're like, where has this been all my life? And it's absolutely crazy. And yeah, when I started to learn this type of the world, I realized straight away that I just could not waste any more time, because, you know, my future self depends on that, and family, and one day my kids. And so thank you for demonstrating that again, because it's not only going to just, you know, it's not just about a conversation with you and I, it's about the people that are going to watch this and realize the amount of risk and how much fire they're playing with, because they're putting a lot of their money into, you know, the risky investments, their tax, their 401k in America, their retirement funds. And I'm just so blown away. Like we've spoken about this before, but even when you show it to me again, it's just kind of like, oh gosh, I just want you to keep showing me some more. But yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. This is exactly what young people need to learn, and even adults too. The kids are struggling because a lot of parents are struggling, and just the amount of families that you're impacting because of this little demonstration alone. Just alone, I'm sure you're doing so many other great things with your business and your movement, but this alone is just helping so many lives. I love this, Douglas. I love this. Oh my gosh. Yes, this is the real type of education that we need to be heavily investing in, because our money is just going to waste. And yeah, it doesn't show up until, like, the side effects don't show up until it's time to really kind of get your life and your family and business in check. And if we can start early and help people start earlier in life, that's the main reason why we do what we do, right?
That's right. That is right. This is good. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why we do what we do, just to educate people, because it's so important. As folks continue simple instead of complicated, you know. So they gotta, if it's not simple, they won't do it. So you gotta make it simple and less complicated, like most financial companies want to make it look. But listen, Lenita, this is great. So I know this is our first one. We're gonna do more, of course.
For sure. Yes.
So yeah, any last things you want to share?
Definitely. I think in terms of, you know, because I love to help connect experts in financial literacy to young kids and their families. So I guess, you know, what's your biggest tip, or, you know, your 3 takeaways? What do you usually tell families and kids when it comes to money? If you were to give them 3 golden truths, what would that be?
Wait, say that again. I lost you for a minute.
If you were to give, you know, one piece of financial advice to young children and to their families, what would that be?
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to planning your wealth and saving money, there's something that called the 4 C's that you have to have. You got to look for it in any financial vehicle, the 4 C's. So the first one is compounding interest. That means, and I call it uninterrupted compounding interest. That basically means this: you want to put your money in an account that is earning compounding interest, and you don't interrupt it. So what I mean by that, well, like this account right here, it's growing, it's earning compounding interest. When you interrupt it is when you pull money out of it. That means you just interrupted the compounding. So why don't leave it in there, let it continue to grow. If you need to do something, the other C will be collateral. You'll be able to use the money as a collateral to do what you need to do without you touching your money, and it's still earning compounding interest and growing. See that? So there's 4 C's. So the first one is compounding interest, uninterrupted compounding interest. The second one is collateral capacity. You know, so I want to be able to use my money that's earning compounding interest as a collateral to loan money from somebody else. And then the third C is what we call cost, opportunity cost. you always want to think about the opportunity cost on every dollar. So for example, if I, instead of compounding or using the money as collateral, and I withdrew money from my account, what did I just do? I just lost the interest that money would have been earning me. So I lost the power of the money. So that's what I call opportunity cost. For every dollar you could have saved, but you end up spending that dollar, imagine how much it would have been worth in the future. So you always want to think about opportunity cost on all your money that you're going to spend. Before you make a decision, think about it first. And then the final C is control. Control. You always want to be in position of control. You don't want to give up control. See, everyone want to control your money. The financial institutions don't want to control your money. You go into a bank today, the first thing they're going to ask you is how much money you have. Bring it for me. Let me invest it for you. Let me put it in the stock. Let me put it in this account. They want to say, so they want to control your money. So my job is to help you and help you understand you need to be in control. See, J.D. Rockefeller, you've heard of him, right? J.D. Rockefeller. Everybody, he's one of the richest families in the world back in the day, right? He has a quote that he says this: own nothing, control everything. Own nothing, control everything. Because the key is control. That's why the wealthy like to control their surroundings. They want to control their money. That's why the wealthy do not do this. They do not put money in government controlled account. They bypass those accounts and they say, what, we have to find a way to minimize taxes. So they only pay a little bit of tax and they fund all their money in accounts that they have control, that is safe and is protected, that nobody can come after it. They can't lose a dollar in those accounts. They stay away from accounts like this, risky. You don't want to ever risk your money. You want to always have safe stuff. Your money got to be working for you. And there's numbers and numerous of accounts that allow you to do it. So those are the advice. So you want to have control, compounded interest, collateral capacity, and cost, opportunity cost.
Wow. Thank you so much. This just, look, financial education in general is just so important. Honestly, it's the biggest priority, one of the biggest priorities in addition to personal development. And just so thankful because I know a lot of families, a lot of young kids are going to be seeing this video. And that's what I love to do. I love to help financial experts connect to families and schools and become youth speakers as well. And I'm just so thankful for this this session today because I know how much it's going to help me personally, but help a lot of people that we serve. I guess I wanted to kind of make it clear to my audience, those that are wanting to move to America or open up some business in America, you are someone that they can kind of go to for advice in terms of how to protect their business and their assets. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. We could help them, show them the best way to structure their business because that's a whole different world when you come into America, especially when you come in brand new, you don't know the system. You're trying to figure out, okay, this new company that I'm about to go work for, they're offering me all types of plans, 401k, this 403b. What is that? What does that mean? What should I do? So we kind of help you, educate you on how to properly plan for your financial future to minimize the amount of taxes that you're going to be paying. See, the federal government says it's okay to minimize taxes. Now, tax evasion or tax avoidance, that's illegal. So we don't know how to do that, but we know how to legally minimize taxes, which they allow us to do. So we have strategies and opportunities to help business owners or individuals that are moving here, trying to start work for a new company. I mean, the good thing for you as an individual moving to America, you got a great opportunity to work and everything. You have clean credit. Your credit is awesome right now. We could show you how to start building it and maintaining it because in America, credit is king. when you understand credit and you know the game, man, you could use the bank's money the way they use other people's money.
Play the game. I love it. I love it. Super thankful. We definitely have to do another session. You know, in terms of whoever's watching this, actually, let us know if you want Douglas and I to have another video session and kind of maybe do another demonstration
Yes.
to help with what you're after. But yeah, super thankful, Douglas. Honestly, I'm just super thankful we've been able to connect and help a lot of people with financial education, connecting them to schools, you know, helping parents out as well. So yes, such a blessing to know you, and we can collaborate further in the future.
Definitely. So thank you so much for this opportunity. We're gonna continue, and then if you have, for those of you that are watching and you want to definitely hear more, just make sure you put a comment in the bottom, and just, you know, we'll respond to your comment, and we'll be able to, and just ask us some questions and some topics that you might want us to share, and we'll make it happen. But for now, thank you so much again. Thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate you. Bye-bye.